Hello everybody, this is Joshua with Urban Defense Institute, urbandefenseinstitute.com. You can also find us on Facebook. Today I'd like to review a product with you and also have a serious discussion about bugging out. The product I'd like to review with you is something that I've used for quite a few years, and it's something I really love and something that I have found so many uses for, and I really feel that it is very beneficial and helpful in an urban survival type situation. So today I'd like to discuss that product, and I'd also like to discuss the topic of bugging out. Now, not necessarily bugging out in like a grand scale, the big type bugging out, but more of a smaller scale, whether, say, you work maybe 50 miles from home and there's some kind of catastrophe and you're low on gas, but all the gas stations are shut down and you have to get home. Well, now you've taken to foot, and you're going to need some gear with you because it might take you a day or two. You don't know what kind of obstacles are going to be in your path. You don't know what kind of smaller disasters have happened between you. You don't know anything about the conditions between you and home. So you're going to probably need some stuff to help at least give you a day, maybe 2 days. I would prepare for 2 days just to be on the safe side. 3, you could probably stretch it to that. But what I'd really like to discuss is how to bug out. Oftentimes when people hear or think about bug out, the first thing they do is they grab up all the tactical gear. Okay, and they've got their tactical bags, they've got all the stuff, and they just look like they should probably be in a movie. But in reality, all this stuff is really saying is, hey, I have gear, you should probably come and see what I've got. And you're probably going to be met by a lot of different people wanting your gear. So you don't want to attract attention to yourself. So these types of things are not going to help you out at all in a real survival situation. They're probably just going to end up causing more problems for you. This is just going to attract attention. So let's go ahead and get real for a minute here. Now, don't get me wrong. I like my Maxpedition. Obviously I have one. But in all reality, this is, I don't know, a man purse, I guess. It's neat, it's fun. I've used it for different things, but I don't think in a real survival situation this is what I would go to. In a real survival situation, this is how I want to look walking down the street. I don't want to look any different than anybody else. I want to be a chameleon. My whole goal in this situation is to blend right in with everybody and then to disappear when I need to. I want to be in and out, and I don't want anybody to ever realize I was even there. That's the real trick. Now, the product that I want to review today is called the RIBZ Front Pack. I absolutely love this pack. I have used it camping and in wilderness survival situations. I've used it for so many purposes that this is just one of my go-to bags. You'll notice when I have a sweatshirt on, you know, I can kind of mush everything around because the way that this pack fits around the body, it just kind of makes me look like sort of a chubby kind of guy walking down the street. I got a little bit of bulk to me. That's okay. Who's gonna bother the fat guy? Probably nobody. Okay, except for maybe the zombies. But if they're around, then there's a bigger problem than just simply bugging out. So anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at this RIBZ. You can get these, by the way, at ribzwear.com. Great people over there, good friends, they'll always treat you right. Okay, so let's take a look. First of all, I have my ATACs right here. This is the normal spot for my ATACs. If you don't know what an ATACs is, I'd recommend going to survival.com and take a look, because this is one of the best wilderness survival tools I think that I have ever found. I love this thing, and actually Urban Defense Institute is currently working with Karen Hood. We are working on a combative course for the ATACs. So not only is this thing going to be your wilderness survival tool, help you with food procurement, wood procurement, different things like that, but this is also your combative item. Okay, we'll be doing some more YouTube videos on the combative ATACs, but make sure that you keep your eyes open for the DVD that we will be coming out with in cooperation with Karen Hood at survival.com on the combative ATACs and teaching you all the wonderful ways that you can use this in a survival situation or in a combative situation to keep yourself alive. So obviously, this is my first thing. I personally like to carry it here because it's very accessible, it's very quick. If I found myself in a combative situation, I can be to it quick. Personally, I like that. This is my favorite carry option. So let's go ahead and get into the bag. I don't want to take too long, I don't want to take up all your time here, but one of the first things, in this pouch right here, I have my extra magazines for my firearm. Now, I want to take just a second and bring something very important to your attention. You may think it's a waste of space, but any pouch that you put your magazines in, don't put anything else in that pouch. The reason for that is the last thing you want in a firefight while under duress is to be reaching into this pouch trying to get your magazine, and you're fumbling around through other stuff trying to find it. And then maybe, let's say you end up getting it, but you get it backwards or upside down or whatever. The way that you want to put a magazine into any pouch or compartment or any place that you're going to carry a magazine, extra magazine, is you want to orient the magazine with your index finger on here the way that you would put it into the mag well of your firearm. The reason for this is, and then this is how you put it in. Hold it like that and then put it into your pouch like that. The reason for this is, if I'm in a firefight and I need to get in there for my magazine, I can grab it exactly how I put it in, slide it right into my mag well, and I'm right back into action. Okay? I'm not fumbling around, I'm not trying to look down at it to figure out where I'm at. My focus is always maintained on my target, so I'm not having to mess around with a lot of stuff. So always remember that. Put it into the pocket the way that you're going to pull it out, so you can pull it out for quick accessibility. Okay. This pocket over here, I have just a mini first aid kit. Okay. I've got a couple of Benadryl. Oops, almost dropped that. I have a couple of Benadryl. I have some Tylenol, some Aleve. I've got some Band-Aids, some bandages. I've got some alcohol swabs, some triple antibiotic ointment. Basically a medical kit of some kind, even if it's small, is something that you're really going to want in the field. The last thing that you need is to be out in a survival situation and have a wound go septic on you. That's a real good way to die out there. I also have just a small knife. This little knife is going to be plenty enough for processing food of any kind, for just doing small tasks. This is basically just a little support knife. I've also got my Swiss Army knife and other options as well. So now let's go ahead and get into this pocket. In this pocket I have a good pair of leather gloves. You're going to want these. You never know when you're going to have to be dealing with a situation. You don't want to be getting your hands all into that situation. Okay, you may be getting cuts. Let's say that you're having to clear some glass away, or you're having to get something that is through broken glass or whatever. You don't want to be risking cutting your hand. Again, any wound like that that you get in the field in a survival situation can be very bad, because it's hard to deal with that kind of thing while you're in that situation. So anytime you can do something to protect yourself from getting an injury to begin with is good. Now I've got a space survival sleeping bag. This isn't one of the blankets, this is actually a sleeping bag. I can crawl inside of this, and you can see this tape here. I can actually get it up around my head and kind of seal it up a little bit so it holds the warmth in for me. This is just my little fire tube, I call it. It's just a little waterproof tube. I've got some flammable cotton balls. I know that it may sound funny that I say flammable cotton balls, but when you go buy a bag of cotton balls for some kind of fire kit, make sure that they're the flammable kind. There are non-flammable cotton balls. You don't want to get those and then find out in the field in an emergency situation that the cotton balls aren't catching, and you're getting frustrated because you're still trying to make them catch. So make sure that they're the flammable kind. I've also got some jute string, some fat wood, and I've got my little ferro rod in there. But more importantly, the ferro rod and stuff is just a backup. I've got a lighter. Much quicker and easier. Let's keep it real, right? Okay. Chopsticks. Food. The reason I got chopsticks, I've got the stainless steel ones. These are fantastic because you can use them for cooking. You can be stirring stuff. You can pick stuff up and flip it. There's so many different uses for stainless steel chopsticks. This is just a small emergency shelter. I've got about I'd say 25 feet of paracord here, and a 3 mil construction plastic bag, or garbage bag. What I can do with this garbage bag, it's the heavy duty kind. I can open it up, I can make a shelter, I can cut just a small hole in the top where I can stick my face through and pull it over me like a poncho. There's a lot of different uses here, and then the paracord is obviously going to give me a lot of other options as well. Just some nice hand warmers. Hand warmers are huge. You can put a couple in your shoes, because obviously you want to keep your feet warm. The feet get cold, the rest of the body gets cold. Okay, so you want to make sure to keep those warm. You can put them like here, keep your core warm. Hands, back of the neck, fantastic. So many uses. Right here, I've just got a small pad of paper and a little pen. I've got the Write in the Rain paper, so that it doesn't matter if it's raining, I can still be writing. You want to make sure you have some way to either take notes. Maybe you need to take note of the situation, or maybe you overhear somebody else saying, don't go there, or go there, or whatever, saying it to somebody else. You know what? Now you can write it down and you can know too. Also, you don't want to be fumbling around in an emergency situation if you have to leave a note or whatever. You don't want to be fumbling around looking for something to write on and something to write with. You should always have it with you. Okay, that's that pocket. Let's take a look at this final pocket here. MREs. Not a whole lot of people like these things, but you know what? Right here I've got 5 MREs. I have 5 meals right here. I could stretch this out for 5 days in an emergency situation and still stay alive. They have a lot of protein, and I mean they're not fantastic, but I'll tell you what, they're food. They'll keep me fed. They'll help me to maintain the energy that I need to keep going and keep moving. And they're nice and flat. I can keep them flat to my body and keep them relatively hidden. This is just my little candle. You don't want to burn out your flashlight, which kind of beat myself to it. Another thing you want in there, good flashlight, right? The candle, though, is so that you're not having to burn out your flashlight while you're trying to process stuff, do a little work and stuff like that. You want something small. I mean, obviously you don't want something big. You're not trying to signal anybody with this. Basically, again, you want to be a chameleon. You want to disappear. You don't want people knowing what you're doing or where you're at, because if they find out where you are or they see you off in the distance, they're going to crash your camp. They want to see what you've got going on. So keep it small and keep it minimal. Do your little work, blow it out. Okay? You don't want a whole lot of signal going on. This is my little water bag. In this bag I have my iodine tablets. They taste like garbage, but I'll tell you what, when you're looking around and you're in a survival situation, water everywhere and not a drop to drink. I think it was, what, Moby Dick, I believe, the book that coined that phrase. I also have just a couple of bouillon cubes. Just flavor some stuff up if I have to cook something, or I can make myself a nice little drink or whatever. A couple of things of tea. Just because we're in a survival situation doesn't mean we can't be civilized. I also have a little Coleman washcloth kind of thing. Fantastic. I love these things. They pack down small. Once they come out, you'll never get it back down to this size, but that's fine. Who cares? I mean, it's small. You're probably just going to get a couple uses out of it anyways. They're pretty thin. And I have a little button compass. Not a fantastic compass. It's not, you know, a Sunto. It's not one of the best compasses you're ever going to find, but I'll tell you what. It's nice at least having something that's going to give you a lee direction. If you don't know what I mean by a lee direction, watch, I can't remember which one it is, one of the Hood's Woods videos, Ron Hood, navigation. I'm sorry, I can't remember which exact number it was, but what he talks about is when you use a compass, what it's going to give you is a lee direction. Northerly, southerly, easterly, westerly. You're not going to get true north. One of these, this will get you in a lee direction. You know you have to head northerly, this will get you heading that way. I also like to have the Casio ProTrek watch with me. It's got the barometer, it's got a compass. It has just some different tools to help me in my survival situation and the things I need to do. And that is just about it. Last thing I've got in here is just some heavy-duty aluminum foil. This right here is going to give me something to cook with. I could make like a little bowl or a little cup out of this thing, get some water, that kind of thing. This is very handy. It packs down really small, but I can do a lot of really cool stuff with this. So that is actually it for the RIBZ. Survival Quarterly magazine, I believe it was issue 3. In that magazine, I go into urban survival kits and different ways of just carrying them. It's a little different than this. It's not really bug out type material, but this kit's going to lend itself nicely with that survival kit that I discussed in that magazine, because I've got a lot of other little tools in there and little things that help out. And again, I use chameleon gear. I use a Scotty vest jacket, and I keep stuff in it, and then with the stuff in my pockets, everything is well hidden. I just look like just anybody else who's just walking around with the crowd trying to figure out what's going on until I disappear with me and my stuff, and nobody was any the wiser. That's ribzwear.com, and that should do it for now. All right, keep it real and stay safe. Thanks.
You die!